BQ Pramam Hiraldaria, a lot of movers and shakers in trade today to discuss the stocks and what one should do with them. Joining us on the show is Saurabh Jain, Assistant VP Research at SMC. Welcome to the show, Saurabh, and a pleasure to speak to you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Saurabh, let's first pick up the banking sector as a whole. If you see over the last couple of trading sessions, there has been a lot of pressure that has been created in terms of banking counters. Yesterday's session as well, we saw a sell-off. Today, we've opened, with a lower tick in terms of banking names. What's your view in terms of the sector? Are we seeing a rotation that's happening? And do you think it's the peak that the banking sector has already achieved?
See, I don't feel the same. I think a few months back, when the inflation numbers started coming off globally and in the Indian markets, people have, the section of the market, have think that maybe the interest rates have peaked out. I mean, the hike in the interest rate cycle. But nevertheless, the latest information that we are getting from the US market and the Indian market is that maybe we are not the end of the cycle, and the interest rates are in the next ensuing meetings will go up, both in India and the America. In the Europe also, the central bank has indicated that there will be a hike of about 50 basis point, approximately two times during the year. So the cost of money is going to stay higher, and I think the section of the market which was expecting that the net interest margins have peaked out, I think there is a scope for them to go up, because in the April meeting we are expecting that the RBI would take a 25 basis point hike, considering the fact that the inflation is now again above the band of 6%. So in that sense, I think overall the credit growth is coming back to the banking system, and the cost of money which is going up in the abroad have made large corporate again resorting to the Indian banking system, which will again give kick to the credit growth. So it was a tactical play which was playing out in the last 3 months, where we saw Nasdaq playing out, posting good gains here in the Indian market. We saw that the technology stocks play out well. Approximately 20% kind of gains were witnessed in the last half or 2 months. I think that sectoral churning has played out its role, and I feel that the banking sector will play out extraordinarily well and will outperform the broader market in 2023.
Right. So overall, which are the stocks that you would prefer from the private banking space as well as from the PSU banking space?
See, if you look at the private banking space, I think Kotak Mahindra which was the underperformer, is likely to perform well. If you see the numbers, the kind of credit growth they are witnessing, the highest ROA and the net interest margin, I think the bank is poised to do well in 2023. If you look at the valuation side also, I think it is close to the book value which we saw near the trough period of COVID. So I think there still a lot of scope for the valuation metrics to go up, and the kind of expected growth that bank is yet to witness. So for the likes in the private sector pack, we like Kotak Mahindra, ICICI Bank, and in the PSU space, I think Bank Baroda, SBI. I think these are the good names, and it is always better to stick with the larger players, because the cost of money is on the lower side, and a lot of competition intensity is coming in the banking sector, which will not be good for the smaller players whose cost of money is higher, and when they will give competition, their net interest margin will get further deteriorated and will get compressed. So it is always good to stick with the large caps.
Right. So that's with regards to the banking space. Moving on, Tata Motors. Now, that's a stock to focus on as well. If you see in the last 1 month, the stock is up around 8 to 9%. And additionally, if you see right now, in terms of EV, they've signed an agreement with Uber to supply 25,000 EVs, a pan-India basis. How are you viewing Tata Motors right now? And do you think this is a good time to buy and bet on the EV space?
I think the things are turning for the Tata Motors in a good manner. If you look at the overall business operation, the Indian market is playing well for the Tata Motors. They have come out with the new variants which are very well accepted by the market. Even the EV variants are getting good response. In the international market also, the JLR posted good numbers, and they are sticking with their target for the fourth quarter. They are expecting that the China, which has opened now, is expected to do well from the January onwards. And this order which you have talked about is icing on the cake. I mean, this is only giving a hope that yes, the company is on the right footing and on the right path. and the in the ensuing quarters the numbers would be great. So we are quite optimistic on the Tata Motors.
Right. Staying with the auto space, if you move to the ancillary space, we have Minda Corp as well as Pricol, which has been in the news over the last couple of trading sessions on the back of the 15.7% stake that Minda Corp has purchased in Pricol. Yesterday, in fact, if you see in the analyst call as well, Minda Corp management has clearly indicated that this is a pure financial investment, but a lot of concerns that were raised by the analysts as well in terms of how could the company actually use the entire treasury funds and put their eggs into one basket by picking up stake in a company like Pricol. What's your view of both these stocks? Because if you see Minda Corp, it's down 13% in the last 1 month. Today as well, the stock is seeing cuts of 3.5%, 4%.
I think if you look at the operational numbers, the Minda Corp is posting a good show, and they are in both the companies are on the similar business side. And when the company is in the similar business in which they have taken a stake, they know the sense how the market is playing out, and they know all the equity market side also. I mean the what kind of valuations play out in the market. And since we are in the upcycle of the automobile industry, and a lot of things are happening, for example, in the EV space, and the new variants which are coming. So I think it is very hard to say from my side, but the management yesterday said that it is a technical investment they have been resorted to. Largely they were on the expansion on the organic side only, but since they were having approximately 360 crore worth of treasury, they thought to park in a company in the business of their own domain knowledge. So I think all in all, I think it will take a while for the market to understand, and things to settle down, because still there is a lot of worries. I mean doubts that whether this is only an investment play, or maybe Minda Corp will resort to a more bigger play. So let's things settle down. And overall, I think the sector outlook and the auto ancillary business is optimistic.
Right. So do you think this is a good opportunity to buy any of the stocks in terms of Minda as well as a Pricol?
I think there is a bouquet of stocks in the market. So it is not always necessary when the stocks are in news that you start to chip in. I mean, there are a lot of, for example, in the OEM, I think Mahindra is the best play to play out. And in the auto ancillary also, there are a lot of companies like Automotive Excels and the battery plays, which you can always play out.
Right. Moving on, another stock from the auto space is a Lumax Auto, which actually sold in trade as they've gone ahead and acquired majority stake in ISE Group's India business. Now, clearly, they have established synergies specifically in the interior systems and component supplies. And in fact, ISE itself is a key automotive OEM supplier to companies like Mahindra, Maruti, Volkswagen, as well as a Volvo Eicher. What's your view on a Lumax Auto? And, I mean, from a valuation perspective as well, what would you recommend?
I think if you largely they are in the two wheeler space, and the two wheeler space we are seeing some kind of a pressure because of the subdued rural demand. They have forayed into this arrangement to largely participate in the four wheeler segment. And now what the management is stating that there will be three revenue will be in three parts. Like one part will be coming from the two wheelers, one part coming from the four wheelers, and one part from the aftermarket sales. So overall, I think it is a very good strategy, and things should play out well, because this majority stake where they have bought out is a marquee player in the industry. So at the very first beginning, they will get a very good foothold in the four wheeler segment.
Right. So that's with regards to a Lumax Auto. Moving on, you have a Bharti Airtel as well that is in focus. Overall, if you see in terms of the telecom data that has come out as well, there is some bit of gains coming in for the likes of an Airtel. Moving on, they're planning 60,000 potential villages for expanding in terms of boosting market share as well. So overall, from a telecom perspective, Vodafone Idea is already on a downtick right now. The other two big players is Airtel as well as Reliance Jio. How would you place your bets on the Bharti Airtel?
I think if you look at the numbers are playing out well for the company. There was expansion in the margins also. They have added approximately 6.4 million users in the last December ending quarter. the management is quite hopeful of getting more foothold in the Indian markets, and also in the African markets. And the large on the valuation side also, there is a good amount of comfort. The major trigger will play out when there will be a hike in the tariff, 4G tariff prices, and which is expected to be largely it is expected that it will come during the middle of the calendar year 2023. And I think that will give a good amount of scope for the margin to further expand. I think on the valuation side, as I'm reiterating that it is a good play on the valuation side, and to play the telecom sector. We are quite optimistic on this topic.
Right. Moving on, from the consumer space, you have Asian Paints as well overall. Now, if you see from an earnings perspective, clearly a 5.5% is the kind of growth that we saw on the profitability front. Uh, Again, analysts were not really happy with regards to the performance, but from there on, now they're looking at signing. I mean, they've signed an MOU with the Gujarat government as well to set up a manufacturing facility in the Hague. Uh, what do you make of an Asian Paints? Because usually the major concern has been valuations with the company.
I think if you look at in the last few quarters, there is a muted volume growth. In the last quarter, there was extended monsoon, even the Diwali season was a bit short. So there was a clear disappointment coming from the December quarter. Also, there is a some kind of a down trading in the premium segment. Also, the companies are finding hard to get foothold in the market, because they have increased tariffs because of the higher raw material cost. And also, a lot of capacity addition is happening in the industry. A lot of new players are coming in the industry. So in my sense, I think going forward in the next 2, 3, 4 quarters, I don't see things are turning on the positive side for the industry as a whole. And moreover, there is no valuation comfort also. So I think for at this current juncture, I think it is a sector to avoid.
Right. That's an Asian Paints for us. Moving on in terms of Triveni Turbine, that stock has been seeing smart gains over the last couple of trading sessions. In fact, BQ Prime spoke to the management as well, but they're clearly indicating that they're planning to raise capacity to 350 turbines annually by FY24. What's your view on a Triveni turbine, Saurabh?
I think companies putting up a good shows. The kind of growth they are putting up is extraordinary. They are getting good amount of orders in the domestic market also. In the last quarter also, the order booking was good, and they have closed the order close to, I think, about 12 billion or so, if I am not wrong. A lot of inquiries are coming from the Southeast Asian market, European markets, and American for that matter. And I think the management is also very confident. So we are optimistic on this side, and lot of aftermarket orders are also coming apart from the capacity they have. We are optimistic on this.
Right. So that's with regards to Triveni Turbine. So these are a few of the stocks which are moving in trade today. And clearly, it's more of stock-specific action that we've been witnessing. Because if you see in terms of Nifty 50, 17,900 is where it's trading at, with marginal gains of around 50 to 60 points coming in there. But the banking pack as well, which opened lower, now we are seeing some gains of almost around 160 to 170 points in terms of Bank Nifty. Thank you, Saurabh, for joining us on the show and giving us those views as well. And thank you, viewers, for joining in.
Thank you. The pleasure was mine. Thank you.